Miami Heat Nation, what is going on, man? Y'all don't understand. Y'all the best supporters in the world, man. I appreciate you guys so much. I love y'all. And today we are going to be talking about why I believe the Miami Heat should not draft Bronny James at the 15th overall pick in this year's class. Now, this year in the draft, it's not loaded with talent. It's probably one of the worst class that people continue to say. Personally, in my opinion, I feel like this is where you're going to find the sleepers. This is where you're going to find a lot of underrated players to help your team. So I think this draft is very interesting. I think a lot of teams will be finding a lot of gems. Now, Bronny James continues to get brought up, and mainly because of his father, LeBron James. If you guys didn't know, he declared for the draft. He's doing the draft combine, workouts, all the measurements and stuff like that. He does have up to May 29th to decide if he wants to remain in the draft or go to another year in college. Personally, in my opinion, I feel like he should develop and go back to college and leave the school that he was at, the Children's, which he didn't really get too much burn, and develop as a player. Now, if he does remain in the draft, which a lot of people and a lot of experts are expecting, then there's a lot of questions, of course. Now, these are Bronny James numbers from last year, from his rookie season. Full freshman season, obviously, right? He averaged about 4.8 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, shooting 36.6% from the field, and shooting 26.7% from the three-point line. He was a 67% free throw shooter, and his frame is about 6'4", 210, and listed at 6'7" wingspan. A couple of things that I didn't notice from Bronny that caught my attention, right? And when I say I don't want the Miami Heat drafting Bronny, that doesn't mean I'm hating on him. That doesn't mean that I think he's a bad player, but I do think it's a reach at that pick, right? Look who we had, Jaime, 3 picks after last year, who is a productive player. Bronny James, in my opinion, just isn't ready to be in the NBA. Maybe next year makes more sense, but this year, not so. But a couple of things that I do notice that stick out and that I think he will have a long career. And people need to realize, stop comparing him to his father. He would never be his father. Bronny's his own type of player. Simple as that. And when you hold a player, especially like him, to those expectations, that's when it gets worse for the player. And that's what I don't want for Bronny, because I think he could have a long, successful career. But stop comparing him to his dad. Now, going back to what I was saying, I think one thing that stands out is that he's a very solid defender. At a 6'4", 210 frame, obviously, I think he's going to get stronger and bigger, but he's a very solid defender. He has that ability to lock up a defender, and that's key in nowadays, right? The NBA is so offensive rhythm of where, score 100 points, 200 points, obviously not 200, but that was a little bit of exaggeration, but the league is scoring. So the players that come in clutch are those 3-and-D players, those wing players. And I think Bronny can fit into that mold as a two-way player. And I think it'll make perfect sense for him. Obviously, he has to work on that shot to be more consistent and to stay on the court. But he has that main thing is defensive, defense, right? Another thing that he has that stands out is his IQ. He has the feel of the game. He knows how to play proper basketball. And I understand that's not, like, some people probably saying, well, that's not much. No, that is much. When you have IQ, look at his father. And like I said, I don't want to compare him and his father ever again, but his father has one of the best IQs in the game. And I think Bronny gets that from LeBron James. His IQ is pretty good from what I've seen. Has a feel of the game, can run an offense, just has to be more of a consistent shooter, Obviously, he has to develop. There is so much stuff that he needs to work on. And I think why he declared for the draft, just to see where, if I do get drafted, if I do stay drafted, well, in the draft, what's my projection? Does the team want me? And what I don't think is fair is that people are using Bronny as, okay, if we draft Bronny, then we can get LeBron James. I don't think that's fair. I think you put Bronny in his own position, because then when you start doing the son-father duel, it just doesn't seem like it's fair enough. I personally don't think. And for whatever coach that has to deal with it, it's just going to be too much, because it's going to be talked about every single day on sports shows. It's going to be talked about on social media. Everywhere it goes, if Bronny has a bad game or Bronny messes up, his dad missing a layup from a nice pass, I don't want that happening at all. So I think the Miami Heat should stay away from Bronny at the 15th overall pick. Now, the Miami Heat do have a second-round pick, which is the 43, but might at that time, he might be gone because teams are going to gamble. Teams like what he has already, which I brought up. They like that. They may like, okay, maybe we can work with this piece and develop, and then also we may get LeBron James. You get what I'm trying to say? So teams are definitely going to be gambling. Teams are definitely going to be reaching a lot in this year's draft because there's a lot of unknown players that us people don't know. But I do think this draft is going to be very, very fun 5 years later. So, Bronny, if I'm you, I am going back to college. I'm developing a little bit more, and maybe I can bring my stock a little bit higher, right? Because he's not going to be a lottery pick, and if he is, it'd be kind of crazy. But I do think if he does get drafted, it'll be like a late first-round pick, maybe heading into the second round. So those are just my things. I don't think it makes sense. I think that he can go after another player that will fit the culture and fit the mold that they need, a position that they need, because we are going to be losing a couple of pieces. We are. It happens. In free agency, we just can't afford them, or they just get paid more, or, you know, they just want to leave, whatever it is. So once again, let us know in the comment sections, what do you guys think? And follow for more Miami Heat content. And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.